First time I ever wrote a script, it was in stone with a hammer and chisel.
Which is strange because he owned a laptop.
Yeah.
I just thought that's how scripts were written.
That's.
Hi, Taylor.
Hi.
Hi, Taylor.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm great. I don't get to see Ryan still because the arm's right in the way, and I'm
No,
gonna be happier about it.
He'll adjust it, and then you'll be able to see me again.
Yeah, sometime. I won't do it if you ask me to because I'm a real mean dude. How's that? Can you see Ryan?
Yeah. No.
Okay, well, I can't do anything else.
No, you can't do anything. I'm the one that set up. The
Yeah,
arm, so you know it's.
So
It is what it is.
yeah, well,
So
You make
more
your
about
bed?
shadows.
So after a quick recess of reviewing color and stuff from Shadows, because we don't know how to balance anything, so we just do it instead of taking a break.
Yeah. That's pretty fun.
I'd like to talk to you guys about specifically when did you start doing? This is part 2.
Mm.
Okay, so this is basically
This is the
episode
sequel. This
2,
is the
right?
Empire Strikes Back.
Yes.
This is the Godfather Part 2.
This is episode 5.
This is Joker Folie de Trois.
Folie à deux.
Folie à deux.
Mm,
A massive success.
yes, totally. So when did you guys
Beloved.
start? When did you guys start doing MacWood? When did you guys start like working together to make films?
High school.
High school. High school, 17. You can call me Mr. Clean.
Never doing nothing wrong, never hitting off a bong, always staying out of trouble, keeping
with
within my own bubble, but there's something on my mind, something on my breast to find an answer to, and I'm feeling blue, gonna fight this pleasure's killing me, compelled to do, desired to, exude muffin catastrophe.
Boom, 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 boom.
Wow, that was really hard to do with Grady trying to do it with me.
And you did that cold. You didn't warm up or nothing. I mean, we can keep talking. I'm gonna just turn his mic off if he keeps this up.
Then you go.
That was the previous verse.
Bubble.
Okay, so you guys started in high school,
Right.
which was probably what, like
2014?
That was the first project we ever did. It was for the city of Dawson Creek. And we did a video with the mayor at the time. And that was the first time we'd ever worked together. I remember Ryan was offered a chance to work on the city project, this video project. And then he brought me along. And we had a celebratory hot dog once he brought me along that he graciously bought for $1.50, which is, you know, back then, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money now.
Oh, yeah. That's $2 million in today's currency, Taylor.
Oh, I just mean because we're starving artists, so $1.50 really goes a long way.
Do you
It
have any
does.
money that I can borrow for a hot dog?
I wish. I'll have to talk to my boss, see if he'll pay me.
He says no.
Okay, so no.
Ryan and I met in grade 9 in music class. The first time I ever met Ryan, we were supposed to number a sheet from 1 to 10, and I looked over to his sheet, and it was written in Roman numerals. And I was like, this guy
He's
is
a
something
nerd.
else. Yeah, that too. And then we were in media arts in grade 9. We did like a stop motion chess fight. And then, yeah, flash forward to we did media arts in high school together, did a few short films. Yeah. And then I think after school, after we graduated, it was maybe a month afterwards, I had this idea for a short film that I wanted to do, and I asked Ryan to be the camera guy for it, and he said, yeah. And that's kind of how it came to be. And then we just kind of formed MacWood as like kind of an afterthought of like, okay, well, we're making movies together, we should make a company. And we did that, and then, you know, it turned into a business from that, you know, because then we had people who were reaching out to us about commercials and stuff, like once a year, I think.
Yeah.
And then it kind of grew and from there. And then, you know, obviously we started working with, I went to film school in Vancouver, and then I came back, and then, you know, Ryan and I started working with Quentin from Dark Ties Media, and that's kind of where we are right now. So it kind of was born from passion. I don't mean to talk for the whole thing, but that's kind of where it kind of started for us.
I would like to talk to you guys about your inspirations for film. Like, well, specifically for film, you, I'm sure, have more inspirations than just from film. But we'll just work right to left, or wait, left to right.
So me or him?
Yeah, you first.
Me
you
first.
Grady.
My inspirations, obviously, I have like favorite directors and favorite filmmakers, but my first inspirations and the ones that have stuck through is my brother and sister, because they were the ones that got me involved. They had a VHS camera back in the day, and I was the only actor available, so they took me, and they would make like Star Trek short films and action short films and all this sort of stuff, and that's really when I caught the bug. And so my inspirations are Emma MacTavish and Matt MacTavish, my brother and sister, and to this day, even though they're not involved in film, they inspire me on a daily basis. Other inspirations are obviously like great filmmakers at the time, Martin Scorsese. I have a real love and affinity for filmmakers of the 1970s.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, as you know, Scorsese, Coppola, De Palma, Lucas's early stuff, even before Star Wars. And a lot of different European filmmakers, Ingmar Bergman. French filmmakers like Francois Truffaut, Jean-Luc Godard. Those are inspirations that I look to, and I kind of find a lot of inspiration from as well. So I guess my brother and sister, and then a bunch of French people.
Yeah, well,
like George Lucas, I guess. I don't know.
And how about like Quentin Tarantino? You like his stuff? Do you think that there's some inspiration to be found in like his kind of stuff?
Yeah, I love his work a lot, but I feel like I don't get a lot of inspiration from him a lot because, and this is something he's admitted to before, is like his style and his work is so influenced by other filmmakers, right? And inspired by other filmmakers. So like to be influenced by him would be to influence by like, someone who's influenced by someone else, right? And so I'd like to go back to the original. But he actually inspired me in terms of writing. I couldn't figure out writing scripts for the longest time, at least feature films, until I read one of his interviews where he said when he's writing, he doesn't come up with an outline or anything like that. He comes up with the characters first, understands how they work and how they operate, and he just lets them, kind of sounds kind of hooey, but he kind of lets them guide the story. And he just writes in their voice and follows them around, and that dictates the plot. And that's what I do with my work as well.
Right.
Which is really tough, and it's you have to put a lot of faith in yourself because you're really just speaking on a subconscious level. But not in terms of like filmmaking, I would say, but like writing for sure. He's definitely inspired me.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's that sort of writing style. That's like what Stephen King has done. I don't know if that's like his go de facto type of how he writes, but there's that's he definitely like he fleshes out his characters and then he basically throws them into the world, and then he's like, how would this person do this?
How would they react?
So he doesn't. So basically, like he'll write the ending to the book, and he's like discovering that ending at the same time
as his
because
characters.
It's like his characters bring him into that
Exactly.
that ending. Now that you're all, that your throat's all freshened up, what kind of inspiration do you take from?
Well, in terms of filmmaking, the first time I think I ever got involved with filmmaking was a video called something like Lowest Budget Fight Scene Ever. Directed and starring Brandon Bame. And
Which I'm ripping off of YouTube as we speak to put on right here.
perfect. It was the first time. No, It was the first time I was involved with Brandon's side of filmmaking, but based on my my poor memory, the first time I had ever been asked to be involved with filmmaking was for you.
Yes.
You were in a media arts class and you needed someone to help you with a scene.
I was in media arts class because anything was better than being in any other kind of class. But yes, that's right. I was in media arts class. I had to write a 10-minute script or something and then shoot it. And it was the dead of winter.
Mm-hmm.
It was horribly cold. It was like minus 25, minus 30, something like that. And I remember you were just a champ. You were just like, you didn't complain. You know, you tried to do everything that I was trying to get you to do, to my memory.
Okay.
But I do remember I had like 18 jackets on to try to not freeze to death because I run cold. And I had the poor camera was inside one of those layers because like the battery, we'd record for like 2 minutes at the most. And then the battery would die because it was just, there'd be no temperature left in the battery and it wouldn't be able to output any charge.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was good. The script was horrible. I had a vision in my head of what I wanted, at least, right? I had like kind of a vision, but I didn't know how to like describe it or in any way
articulate it.
Yeah, I couldn't articulate it.
Yeah.
But I just decided I would trust the process and I would just do it. So that was the first time that I did any filmmaking was 2009, 2010.
My best friend, my good friend that I have known since the second day of kindergarten, when by his words I just made eye contact with him across the room, walked over to him and said, "You're my friend now."
That is adorable. Yes, and then I stole him from you.
Yes,
when I became a teenager.
The honorable, the talented, the beautiful, sexy man that is Brandon Bame.
Yeah.
Yes. Brandon Bame was one of my biggest inspirations for actually pursuing filmmaking because he didn't care about what other people thought. If he thought an idea was funny, he made it. And that is so respectable. And he has done that with all of his art. He did that with music. He did that with his sketches and his drawings. He did that with his films. If he thought an idea was funny, he was going to make it. He is a comedian through and through. Even if he's not a stand-up comic, he is one of the funniest people I've ever met.
Yes, I was going to say that he makes things that he thinks are funny, but he's got a really good sense of humor.
Yes.
So thankfully, a lot of people resonate with that.
He is a tremendous human being as well. He goes out of his way to help you. And I try to involve him in as many projects as I can, and as a sort of thank you to him for inspiring me to get involved in filmmaking, I asked him to be a part of Shadows. It's a small role, but it's the least I could do for him. And I really respect him. In terms of professional inspiration, I just hate watching movies.
I feel the same way.
I'm just kidding. I love visual storytelling because I am a director of photography most of the time.
Your nose is behind a camera.
My nose is behind a camera, so I'm always thinking about visual imagery. So when you say, how do you tell a story visually? The first two names that come to mind for me are Wes Anderson and Edgar Wright. They are masters of visual storytelling. Sam Raimi is another one. He is a phenomenal visual storyteller. And
it makes a good Spider-Man.
He does make a good Spider-Man, but he makes an even better Bruce Campbell movie.
That's true.
Which,
why not both?
Evil Dead. Well, yeah, Spider-Man technically are Evil Dead movies. Yeah, I meant to say Bruce Campbell movies.
They do take place in the Evil Dead universe.
They do.
Yeah.
So visual storytelling is my jam. So Wes Anderson, his use of color, his use of framing is phenomenal.
Mm.
Edgar Wright, his use of pacing and just his keen eye for visuals is spot on. And then Sam Raimi is very experimental, and I respect the heck out of that. He does what he thinks is going to be cool, and he doesn't shy away from that. And he embraces it. And I respect the crap out of that. And he has inspired me to try new things in similar veins.
Yeah, I love that. I love that as a musician. You know, there's nothing worse than spending a lot of time trying to produce a piece of music, and then when you're listening to it, you go, "There's nothing interesting here. I didn't take any risks. I just went totally by the book. That's really boring."
Yeah.
I'd rather hit a wrong note on the master of the thing than play everything so perfect. I might as well have just sequenced it in MIDI.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Just makes it feel more alive, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah,
It's
because
more human.
It's about taking risk and like doing interesting things despite the risk.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why, obviously we're like in the advent of and rise of AI, and that's a big hot topic, as it should be, because, you can now enter in a prompt and get a
Video,
video, a piece of
music.
a painting, a graphic design, however. And, I get a lot of questions about what does that mean for like movies and stuff, and what do you think? And like, aren't you going to be replaced? And I say no. And I also don't think the same for a lot of art forms like music and film, because it requires a human touch. It requires mistakes, and it requires risk, and it requires thinking unconventionally and without logic sometimes, and just going by your gut. And I don't think AI can replicate that.
I could not agree more. I was at first when AI started coming out, I was like, oh no, that's scary. But now I've come to realize that I still have a place in this as a musician, and in film, because it's not just like what you were saying. Like there's no human there's no human element into that, at least right now. But I don't think there ever will be that humanity within the art,
Like
that
the
it
grit, that rawness,
yeah,
for sure.
And I love AI. Like I'm all about
As a
like
tool,
the AI
it's
tools.
great.
Yeah, super cool as a tool.
I sympathize with it because I am also a tool.
I sympathize with it because I am also artificial in my intelligence.
Ryan sympathizes with it because he is an android.
But it's like my friend who I love dearly. He messes around with AI, and like once in a while, he'll be like, "Hey, I made this song with this tool or that tool, and it's about you being a sound guy and this and that." I'm like listening to it, and because I love him, I'm like, "Dude, that's awesome. I love that for you."
Mm-hmm.
I have zero emotion about the music itself, because it's just like, yeah, it sounds cool, but it doesn't do anything for me.
It's automated
in my soul.
Yeah, and people that use it for art form, you can knock yourself out. It's up to you, but it comes back to like, why would I let a computer do the fun part? Why would I let a computer write for me? Like, writing's hard and writing's tough, but like that's the fun part. Why would I let it edit for me or all this sort of stuff?
Yeah,
that's the fun part. It should do all the boring stuff. You can answer emails for me. I don't care.
Yeah. You just inspired me to write a song about you being the sound guy.
What are you gonna call it?
Sound guy.
Oh, he's a sound guy.
I'm not very creative.
No. Your words might, your titles might need a little work.
Yeah.
Probably. Shadows.
Casting Shadows.
Ooh,
hey,
that
Casting Shadows is a great title,
especially
for a
when it's like
documentary.
about you as a filmmaker. I like that because like your doubts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's multi-layered.
Yeah. Hard Reset's a good title for you too.
True.
You need to take a sleep. You need to take a sleep.
I need to take a long sleep.
You need to take a sleep.
Take a sleep like a pill.
Yes.
Technology's really changed.
Yes.
Even since you guys started.
Yeah.
Making stuff like even like the A7S II, which was like top of the line.
You know, the first time I ever wrote a script, it was in stone with a hammer and chisel.
Which is strange because he owned a laptop.
Yeah,
I just thought that's how scripts were written.
that's great. That's great.
Moses was right beside me.
What do you think about the ever marching technological advancement that we have right now, where it's always like, you know, this thing has 10 more pixels across than the last one?
I think it's incredible. As someone who enjoys learning and seeing advancements in our society, I don't just see the advancements in like camera equipment and sound equipment and the stuff we work with. I see the advancement on the technological front as a whole. And I think the fact that we're making semiconductors infinitesimally small, and we can make such powerful equipment in such small bodies, like specifically for cameras, sensors are getting larger while the technology is getting smaller. So we've got 16K sensors now. Yeah. And you're never going to be able to watch that on a TV because you don't need to. You don't need to watch something at 8K. 4K is more than enough. But in terms of like information, for like visual effects and tracking, like 3D tracking, 16K is massive. It gives you so much information that the computers, that the technology can then utilize, which is also on the forefront of this technological advancement, right? Everything is growing so exponentially. I think that's phenomenal. What we can do with technology is mind-blowing. If you look at where computers and where cameras and everything were 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, like Grady touched on this in the first part, you have a phone that can capture audio, can capture video.
Well,
Very, very well.
very well.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You could hardly do that 5 years ago. Like the sensors in modern iPhones have gotten so good. Their dynamic range is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back 5 years, they weren't. So I love seeing the technological advancement. No, you don't need to upgrade every year. You don't need to get the biggest and best thing if what you're using is still working for you. Upgrade when you need to. Keep what you have until then.
And yeah, so that's sort of like, I love being frugal. I love running a piece of tech or a piece of gear into the ground, like until it just calls uncle.
Yeah.
And because the technology is getting so advanced and things are getting so smaller, the things that aren't a 16K camera are going to be getting cheaper and cheaper. Even if today you go out and buy an A7S2, like that's still a fantastic piece of gear.
Yeah.
I had it in my hands this summer for some projects that we were doing, and I shouldn't have a camera in my hand, but I make do. You know, I like the
Who
challenge.
gave you a camera? What were their names?
It was Quentin.
It was Grady.
That idiots.
But it's still a great camera. Like it's still, the sensor is phenomenal. Even, you know, I mean, like I can't compare it to the Zcam that you're looking at right now, because just the sensor is so massive and it has so much dynamic range. Like there's a reason the way that camera is the way it is and why it's expensive. But you can get away with doing really great work on really cheap stuff.
Yeah.
I paid less for the Zcam than Grady and I paid for the A7S2.
Yeah.
But it was used.
It was used.
And it was damaged.
But it was damaged in such a way that I knew right out of the gate that I would be able to use a workaround. But if you look at, like, I claim that before shipping and stuff, because I got it from the Netherlands, it was $4,000 for the Zcam. It was $4,000 for a brand new A7S II. New. It was a fresh camera. It's $4,000 US for just the body of the Zcam.
Yeah. But you don't have warranty and stuff anymore on that Zcam, which the Sony you would have.
Yes. But that's sort of to your point on technology while being on the forefront of this expansion and the growth of the technological and information age. Things are getting cheaper. Like,
yeah,
you're going to be in the same price point for all of the new models comparatively to the old models. And so if you want to upgrade and you don't need to upgrade to the highest, like if you don't want the red Komodo, you can get red helium or a red something.
Or like a red that was made in 5 years ago.
Yeah. I think the helium is like a 8-year-old sensor. I think. Don't quote me on that. I could be very wrong.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need like these expensive, these absolutely ridiculously expensive microphones to do this. I wanted to because I was able to have the budget for them. But even just like a simple condenser mic, that's like $150 each.
Yeah,
could have totally done it. And actually, Shure makes like the MV7 or the something like that, and it's a fantastic, great. I think maybe that MV7 sounds better than these.
If we were really hurting, we could have used those Bauer $15 lav microphones from Walmart.
I mean, if they weren't TRRS, if they didn't have the extra ring on them, maybe, yeah.
If they didn't plug into a phone and instead plugged into audio equipment, they would have worked.
Yeah,
right.
So you're looking at
you're looking at $30 maybe for the microphone and the adapter. Like all you need is a high quality audio recorder at that point.
Yeah,
something that can handle multiple channels.
And then like the Zoom FN4, I think that was what it was.
H2N4,
H4,
H4N.
I think it's an H4N.
H4N.
Yeah, the H4N Pro, like even that thing was fantastic. Like 48 kilohertz.
Yeah.
48 kilohertz. Which is like studio quality.
24
right
bit.
there. 24 bit. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I would meant.
Yeah, I think the H2N or H4N, sorry, H4N Pro does 96 kilohertz.
Yeah, which is no normal person is going to have gear that even does that.
No.
I do sound for a living now, and I still don't have gear that actually fully utilizes 96.
Yeah. You need tweeters.
But I agree with Ryan when it comes to technological advancement and how fast it's going. In that, at least when it comes to like camera gear and stuff to make content or videos or movies with, as long as it's accessible, more accessible for people, more cheaper for people to just pick up a camera even as a hobby and just start, the better, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just kind of do the thing, as I've had guests say before.
That's the key to art.
Thing. No, you can't say that.
Why?
Because that's a trademark.
Who is it?
Nike.
Just do the thing. Oh,
that's
a trademark.
I'm bleeping that out every time because I have to.
Even when I say just as a sentence.
Yeah, because that's like they
even just saying it verbally,
dude. I can't even talk about Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo is rough.
But I knew they did that with Let's Plays. We can't even say the names.
We can, but I'm just saying, for example, like like Nike is like they have shoehorned every possible iteration of Just Do It. They own it. They own the word.
Just do the thing.
Every time you say that, you have to give them $20.
Just do the thing. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Can I say just do it, please?
Just sure. Yeah.
Can I say that? Just do it, please. Please.
Just do the thing.
Please. Please, very much so. But yeah, it's like for me though, as an artist, I feel like there's I'm comfortable around cameras and whatnot, but I'm mainly concerned with like the storytelling aspect of it. And I think at a certain point, it's just like like Ryan said, like, do you really need 6K? It's great for like, visual effects and whatnot, but then like screening it or whatnot, is it really needed? And at a certain point, I'm just like, I could shoot a million movies just on that FX because it's just such a fantastic camera.
The FX30, right?
Yeah, FX30, the one that's is on my coverage and Ryan's, and then the Zcam's the master. But I think at a certain point, it's just like, for me as an artist, I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm okay with this.
I will eat up 6K. That's I think where Grady and I differ a little bit. Is I love having the additional room for upscaling and not upscaling, downscaling. Sorry, downscaling to 4K from 6K, so you get that extra clarity. And you get the added room to punch in 25% or whatever. And if you're doing it, if you're exporting at 1080p, you can punch in 50%.
Well, isn't 4K? Oh yeah.
4K to
so
1080.
if you're doing 1080 to 4K, that's 4 times as many pixels, right?
Yeah.
So you can 25%.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Right.
it's 2 times and 2 times. 2 times the height, 2 times
and then
the width.
6 is also additionally that
It's 2 times again.
4 times as much.
yeah.
Was listening to this really interesting interview about, I think they were interviewing Ridley Scott's DP, director of photography, and he was talking about how Ridley Scott doesn't even block with his actors or rehearse. He's just like, okay, go. And then he'll shoot just multiple cameras, and the guy was saying, like, that kind of removes the directness and specificity of like filmmaking, of like figuring out one shot. He's like, it's like you're going to a grocery store. You're like, instead of picking out a meal and the recipes, you just go to a shelf and grab a bunch of stuff and throw it in the cart and be like, I'll figure it out later. And shooting with multiple cameras. And I always felt that way with, and I started to think about my own journey as a filmmaker and relying on, punching in with 4K. And I'm like, is that reducing my level of effectiveness as a filmmaker?
That's interesting.
Is that removing my specificity?
Yeah.
Is that removing that? Is that making me less than? And I thought that was kind of interesting.
I don't know. That's fascinating.
Yeah, because it's like, it makes you think, because it's like, if I was shooting on film, would I shoot as much coverage as I normally do at like events and stuff? Like if we're shooting an event, say, for example, and like I shoot a lot, my shooting ratio is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because I just like to overshoot and figure it out in post.
Yeah.
But it's like, if I was shooting on film, would that change? And would that change the way I shoot film? Would I cut in the camera, or would I shoot coverage?
I would probably cut in the camera.
Yeah, right.
If I were shooting film. And I tried to do that on a couple of occasions when I knew exactly how I wanted a scene to play out in shadows.
Yeah.
I didn't worry as much about coverage in some of the takes or in some of the scenes because, again, I knew I was going to be editing it and I knew that I wanted it to play a certain way. So I didn't worry about coverage in a few of those.
Right.
And it worked out really well.
Yeah. Right, yeah. And I think the same with Hard Reset, too, because we had to cut in the camera with the style of the film, right? And it worked out really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just made me think a bit more about being more direct as a filmmaker, and as a storyteller and whatnot. So,
yeah.
But it was kind of interesting. I guess as a musician, do you have an equivalent to that, Taylor, of like, just not being overindulgent, say, but being kind of like safe, like with filmmaking, like you get extra shots, right? And you shoot a bunch of coverage and you have multiple cameras for one scene, right? But then you're like, oh, maybe I should have just shot it in one particular way and just be more direct as a director rather than trying to figure it out later.
Yeah, if I can draw the parallel between writing a song and recording it for like a demo.
Yeah.
There is that millennial perfectionism that I absolutely suffer from. As far as like, there's I try to not do this too much. Like if I'm assembling something for the first time, because if I'm writing a piece of music, I'm writing it into my DAW, and that looks like a barcode.
Yeah.
Like I'm cutting out little pieces because I'm not only writing that song, I'm learning how to do that song for the first time as I'm writing it. And I'm trying my very best to just free flow ideas from my brain into my fingertips or, you know, whatever instrument I'm trying to play. So it's always, excuse me. So it's always like, everything looks like a barcode, but I do find like when I revisit that and I'm trying to do that again, I try to do it in like one take. I try to like just make it that experience, unless like I really mess up.
Yeah.
But it's like musically, like the albums that I really love are all like the Eagles, the Beatles, you know, all those bands, even like Nirvana and stuff. These are all live bands. Like these are all like they played in bars. That's where they cut their teeth musically. And when you're doing this kind of thing, you have to just be good. You have to just be really good.
Yeah.
And a lot of their stuff that they're doing, their albums, they're done live. Rage Against the Machine too. Like they're all great musicians. And I'm speaking about this because I just watched like a couple of big interviews about Rage Against the Machine. And they wanted that energy of a live show. So they did everything for their first album. They did it basically in a room. They had the drummer isolated but still there. And they just went ham. And you can feel that in the album. Like there's that raw
that
energy.
energy.
They're not playing to a click.
Yeah.
Like you feel them push and pull. It's not perfect. But oh my goodness, it sounds good.
Yeah.
Just really, you know, it makes me feel a little something inside.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
For me as a musician, trying to liken it to filmmaking, because I'm so deeply familiar with both, is the equivalent to overshooting would be over instrumentation. Like over complicating your track with too many instruments. Like say I like to make my music really simple. I like a guitar, I like a bass, I like keys. I don't always throw drums into my music because I don't fully understand the drums because I'm not a drummer. But it's once I start to get overly complicated with the instruments, then I feel like I'm getting too much coverage because it sullies the sound.
Right.
Like if I throw a flute in there, then I don't want to throw strings because they'll start to contrast.
Right.
Yeah, there's only so much room in your master file for, you know, like sound. Like when you're thinking of sound, it's, you know, you have a room. You just have a room with 4 walls, a floor, and a ceiling.
Yeah,
and
your
you have to
soundscape.
fit everything within that soundscape, that room.
Right.
And as soon as you start, like if you put like a big string section, you know, that's taking up most of that room, and then you have to try to fit everything else in there.
Yeah.
And so that's, yeah, there's a lot of like, there's unlimited creativity in music, but there is a harsh restriction.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for me personally, over instrumentation, like going too hard on the instruments, would be the equivalent of getting too much coverage.
Interesting.
Yeah, there is a thing that you can hear a lot from amateur musicians that are, and I've done this myself, but they'll start with a song or with a sound, like they'll maybe have drums or they'll have like that bass, you know, da 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 da, and then they add like the drums, and then they add the guitar, and then they add another guitar, and they add keyboard, and then they add a string section, and then they add this, and then they add that, and they never take anything away once they've added it. So you have this giant orchestra happening.
Yeah, a
when
wall
you-
of sound.
Yeah, when you really could have got away with like a hit here or hit there of some violins, and then maybe slamming on a piano keyboard, and then taking it away again.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, you don't need to keep all of your elements in your track 100% of the time. It's like storytelling. Anything that services the story, you should keep in. But once it stops servicing, take it out.
Yeah, you don't have a monster in your frame for the entirety once you've introduced the monster,
Right.
that would defeat the purpose.
Oh, interesting. I didn't think about it like that. I'm gonna run to the washroom.
Yes, please. I know I did. Which is perfect because we can talk a little bit more musically for just the moment. Just be really all over the place.
Sure.
So what do you think about what do you think about the technology in music recording, like DAWs?
Well, in terms of like the technological advancements affecting like music, I can't imagine having to record onto tape. Like I've always lived in this digital age where you can make art digitally. That being said, I don't do digital painting. I do like
You do
old school
real
painting.
painting,
Yeah.
with oil paints and
Yeah.
canvas.
And your
Yes.
fingers.
and my fingers, yeah. That's for my face. I do
Oh,
a face
you
paint
do
with
face
my
painting.
fingers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you do tiger mask?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Just the whiskers. And I can't imagine trying to record onto tape because recording digitally is just so convenient.
It's so convenient.
Everything about this technological age that we live in is driven by convenience.
Do you know how hard it is to record live drums?
No?
I did it, and it's horrible. You have to have a whole bunch of mics set up, and then you have to play it right. When
Awful.
I can Hydrogen, which is just, totally free, is a drum emulator. And yeah, it kind of does sound like MIDI drums. But you can also import your own MIDI files to make it sound like whatever you want.
Yeah.
But it's so good. It's so easy to use. It's so user friendly, and you can just have I've written like legit fills that I would play as a drummer in the MIDI program, and it eats it up like it's breakfast. No problem. And
Cool.
it's so simple. Whereas you have these headphones that you have to strap down super tight because you're playing loud. And you're gonna destroy your eardrums any other way. So you basically have I think I remember having, those not noise canceling, but they're like in-ear buds that have like the rubber things. So I'm plugging my ears, and then I had big earmuffs on top of that, and then I had to, because I'm moving and stuff, I had to take some rope and tie that really tightly around my head too to try to isolate myself because I could barely hear what I was playing.
You probably looked insane.
Oh, well, I mean, that's no real difference from any other
between
time.
now and then, yeah.
Yes.
That was a Beatles song.
Hmm?
That was a Beatles song I just said.
Now and then.
Now and then.
Yeah.
Mm,
You ever heard
I
that?
am the walrus.
No, I love that song too.
Subs in another world.
That was a Big Lebowski reference.
That it was.
That was a Beatles reference.
What do you mean?
I'm the walrus.
Oh,
I'm the walrus. I
you're
am the walrus.
you're out of your element, Donnie. I like how it's. I think it that line in that scene. I like how he's out of his element talking about the Beatles.
Yeah.
Because he's talking about Vladimir Lenin.
Yeah. Yeah. And Donnie thinks they're talking about John Lennon.
I am the Walrus.
I am the walrus.
What a great movie. You say you hate movies. That movie's awesome. You ever seen The Big Lebowski?
No,
Oh,
I don't watch movies.
let's watch it right now on the podcast live.
I barely listen to music.
I'll put it down on the screen.
Oh, good. Yeah,
lower
we need to
third.
pad the hours.
Yeah. It's another episode right there. Watch along.
But the, okay.
MST3K.
So I just want to say that as much as I love the drum machine, it does sound like a drum machine, and it's always it's quantized, and all that stuff, which is there's no push, there's no pull, it's always perfectly on time. Actually, now that I say that,
Yeah.
I am remembering that Hydrogen
Bomb.
has a it has a humanized feature and a
Yeah.
dequantize, so it actually does sound a lot more human. Because the first couple of ones or a couple of tries, it was always just so quantized and perfect, and every note was the same volume, and you know it was always on time. But you shift that around, you give it a little bit of swing, so it's not always exactly where, you know, not always on that one. It starts to sound really nice. It actually sounds pleasant. Whereas when it's always 1, 2, 3, 4, it sounds odd.
Yeah. Reason has a swing feature for their drum kits, and I think that's really cool because it doesn't do it automatically, but you can program in your MIDI sequences for your drum kits, and then there's an option to quantize it, but you can quantize it to a swing amount, so it won't quantize it perfectly.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
Because
It's
no
really cool.
one, unless you're Neil Peart, is gonna play like a drum machine.
No.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Dave Grohl is apparently quite the machine himself, but Neil Peart is, you know, the epitome of being too exact.
I know the feeling.
That's okay, cool. So you kind of love it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do. Yeah, I think it's phenomenal.
You didn't ask for my opinion on music.
Yeah, what do you think about the new DAWs?
They're cool.
Oh yeah. So how do you feel about plugging your guitar directly into a computer and then you have amp sims?
It's cool.
Up top.
Thanks, bro.
No, but it's not cool. It's the wrong answer. No, actually, it's extremely cool.
It is very cool.
It's cool.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
So
I got it right.
I'm an analog guy. You know, I love analog. I think analog is just sweet. It's just so cool. You can do so many things with it. But I have to say, the amp sims are really, really good. They are, well, I mean, that shouldn't be news to anyone that knows anything about music.
I know.
Because anyone that's doing studio time now, there's no amps in the studio anymore.
Yeah.
They're almost always running through amp sims.
Yeah.
But there is one thing that you can't do with an amp sim. And it's the way that the sound vibration, if you're playing two notes and you're doing like a bend, like there is like a sound that you don't get in it. So like on a real amp, you get like these very meaty, you know, these just sounds. You get sounds
Like they're
from analog.
imperfections, right?
Yeah, basically.
And that's kind of like going back to how you said like Rage Against the Machine would play live, right? And to record their album. You know, you want that grit, you want that imperfections.
It's like the difference between vinyl and a CD.
Yeah, you want that grit.
I prefer CD myself, but
I
that's
also
fine.
prefer CD because the dynamic range on a CD is much higher.
How can you see color on a CD?
Dynamic range just means your lowest frequency to your highest frequency. Like,
But how does the whites and blacks, how do you see that on a CD?
I don't see color.
That's really cool.
That's a good answer.
I'm colorblind.
Whoa, okay. You're my colorist. What's your favorite type of clock? Analog or digital? I've been holding on to that for since you started this conversation.
I don't care either, actually. Digital, because 24-hour clock,
I was gonna
which is the only thing I run off of.
just took my next
Do you actually
question.
do you run off a 24-hour? Why do you run off a 24-hour?
Because it's better.
It removes all ambiguity.
Yeah.
Oh,
If I see it's 1800 hours, that's 6 o'clock. That's 6 o'clock at night. Period.
at the PM. I don't know.
Allison also runs on 24-hour clocks.
I adopted 24-hour because in the mines that's what they ran off of, and I was always bouncing in between a night shift and a day shift. So like just having that zero ambiguity, this is the time, this is what's going on. I just love it.
What if you look at your
think it's
computer?
great.
Is your computer on 24-hour?
No, it just says PM on it, so it's good enough. But I don't look at the time.
Fake fan.
If I look at the time, if I want to know what time it is, I look on my phone. I don't look at the little thing at the bottom corner of my screen. I just don't.
What is your timepiece go to? 24 hours.
24 hours.
Like a watch. Like a watch.
2024. Watches are for rich people. And I work for MacWood.
We bring up a very good point.
He's not wrong, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I have a watch.
And it's an Apple Watch at that.
It was a gift
From who?
from Allison.
Who's Allison?
Allison's my girlfriend who spoils me.
I love Allison. She's great.
Rotten.
I wish I could work with her more instead of you.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
just
you.
do more productions where we can hire a caterer.
No, I'm trying. I want to cut out a lot of money though. So
Yeah.
let's get rid of labor and get rid of food. Who needs it?
Get rid of labor by providing food.
That's a good point. Get paid.
In food.
In
Get
food.
paid in enchiladas.
That's a
They're
dream.
worth it. That would be worth it.
That would be worth
I
it.
remember those enchiladas.
Taylor,
I'm
can I
lactose
say something
intolerant.
controversial?
And, oh my goodness.
Can I,
they're good.
can I say something controversial?
No,
You're worth it.
that is very controversial. Controversial.
Controversial.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, well, that one's done.
That one's full. Or dead. I can't tell.
It's full.
Awesome.
Nice. Woohoo.
Ryan's coverage.
All right.
Are we done? Are we gonna...
Well, we have the master still. What's the voltage at?
13.7.
Okay, let's go.
What's the max of that?
Yep. I think it dies at like 13.5.
Okay. All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay, so yeah, I would never want to. I love analog, but I'd never want to do analog
Clocks.
recording of any
Okay.
sort because
Right.
yeah, no, it's not nearly as good.
Fair enough. Well, I'm kind of ending the show for you, I guess. I'm sorry.
Well, no,
It's about that
I mean,
time.
you're not, well,
Look
I
at my
mean,
24-hour clock.
you guys, we've really just been just kind of shooting the breeze, talking about like the stuff that
love it.
matters to us, and you know.
Can I just say thank you for having us on?
No.
It was
Oh, sorry. What were you gonna say? I just want to say thank you for being on the show. I have been looking forward to having you guys on here for a long time, which is very rare considering how I do not want to be on camera, but I'll
Yeah.
do it for you guys.
well, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to hawk my
Tua.
crap.
Yeah.
No.
Talk to
getting to hawk my stuff. Yeah, it's been really fun just chatting with you. We never get to do that.
That's true, because we're always working, and I work on the opposite building.
Talk to.
Oh, what? You don't know it? You don't think I can just delete your thing of the...
No, you can't.
You can't just delete your coverage.
No, it's the only. We have 2 cameras out of the 3.
6K, I can punch in forever.
Yeah, baby.
No. Okay. Well, Taylor, thank you so much for having us. I really appreciate it.
Grady, thank you for being here. Ryan, thank you for being here. I'm honored that you guys are going to take time out of your busy schedules to be here.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Legitimately, there's no cap.
Can you sign my chest?
Sure.
Sweet.
All right, I'm excited to go work on the movie
Yeah,
some
and
more.
now we're
Talk to
gonna,
you, man.
We're going to go back to reviewing the
Oh,
cut that we were working on.
Oh, we're still on air.
Yeah.
Oh crap! I'm sorry.
Uh,
High school, 17.
cool.
Talk to a.
Right. Goodbye.
Bye. Bye. Did you wave for your coverage? That's gone.